This is the second grade GoMath Chapter 10 review for our test. Number 1 says, Hera asked her friends to choose their favorite yogurt flavor. Use the data to make the tally chart. So the data is in this box in blue on the left that we're seeing. So we're going to use those numbers and fill in our chart. We see that Peach has 3 friends, and our title over here is favorite yogurt flavors. So we're going to use tally marks. So we see that Peach has 3 friends, so we're going to put 3 for Peach. Berry, I'm going to put 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, when we have 5, it slants. That 5th one makes a slant through for the 4 tally marks. And then Lime, we see, has 2. And Vanilla has 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 with a slant. And then 6, 7. And that's how you would do number 1. For question 2, you're going to pull from the data that we put in our chart for question 1. So it says, does the sentence describe the data in the tally chart above? Choose yes or no. So this first one says, 7 friends chose Berry and Peach together. So pulling from my data, Peach and Berry, I know that those numbers are 3 plus 5. We know 3 plus 5 equals 8. So we need to say 8 friends. So that's a no. The second one says, more friends chose Peach than Lime. Alright, so Peach has 3. And Lime has 2. So we're going to say yes. More friends did choose Peach than the Lime. And obviously, we can look at Lime in our chart as well. And then more friends chose Vanilla more than any other flavor. That means Vanilla has to have the highest number. If we look, Vanilla has 7. So do any of these have 7? Well, 3, nope. 5, no. 2, no. Those are all less than 7. So we're going to say more friends did choose Vanilla than any other flavor. For number 3, it says, Hera asked 5 more friends to choose their favorite flavor. Again, this is going back to number 1 with that tally chart. So she has 5 more friends to choose their favorite flavor. 3 friends chose Berry and 2 friends chose Lime. So right now, Berry has, if we look back at that data, you'll see that right now Berry has 5 already. But 3 friends chose Berry from this. So Berry now has 8. And we'll also see that with Lime, we started out with 2 from our chart. And now 2 friends also chose Lime. So Lime is at 4 now. So this question says, do more friends like Berry or Vanilla now? So Vanilla we had 7 and Berry we now have 8. So for my explanation, I would say more friends like Berry now, since 8 is greater than 7. This 7 is coming from the chart up on top with the vanilla. That's where I'm getting that number 7. And the 8 is from this math. Let me put that in red. It's from this math right in here that I did. So I just said more friends like Berry now since 8 is greater than 7. Number 4 says Teresa counted the leaves on her plant once a month for 4 months. So once a month for 4 months. Describe how the number of leaves on the plant changed from May 1st to August 1st. Make a bar graph to solve the problem. All right. So what I like to do first is coming up with my titles. So we have to come up with our titles. And what's nice about this graph is they already came up with my titles for me. If you can look, it says Teresa's plant. Then out to this left side, it says number of leaves. And then on the very bottom in bold, it says date. So that's the nice part, is that they took care of those for us. Now we're just going to fill in the data. So May 1st had 2 leaves. And I would color that in. June 1st had 4 leaves. I go up to 4. And I can color that in. July 1st has 6 leaves. And also I would color that in. And then August 1st had 8 leaves. And I would try to color that in to the best of my ability. All right. Now moving on down, after I've made my bar graph, it says the number of leaves on the plant. So we're going to look, did the data go up or did it go down? So we start at May, then we move to June, July, and August. So starting at May, we notice that the bar graph went up. We see an incline there or an increase there. So I'm going to say the number of leaves on the plant increased each month. Number 5 says, if Teresa counts 9 leaves on September 1st, will the number of leaves change from May 1st to... How will the number of leaves change from May 1st to September 1st? So I'm just going to do out to the left side. Let's say we know that 9 would go up from 8. Let's say 9 went up by 1. And it stopped down here. This all fills in. And this is September 1st. All right, so do we still see an increase there? So we do see an increase there. And let me make sure, yes, it increased to 9. So if we notice carefully, we're going up by 2s. So if you notice, it's 2, 4, 6, 8. So all the way up till this point, we go up by 2s. And then in September 1st, it only went up 1. So I would say, let me change my pen color. The number of leaves increased. And we said by 2s. Or by 2 each month. I'm going to finish that off. Should have brought my line out just a little bit more. From May 1st to August 1st. But instead of counting by 2s from August 1st to September 1st, it counted or increased by 1. So it increased by 1 from August 1st to September 1st. And that's how I would explain that. Number 6 says, use the tally chart to complete the picture graph. Draw a smiley face for each child. Alright, so if you look to the left, we have some tally marks. Tag has 1, hopscotch has 5, kickball has 3, and jacks has 2. So you're just going to translate that over. So we're going to do smiley faces. Tag has 1 smiley face. There we go. Hopscotch has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Kickball has 3. 1, 2, 3. And then jacks has 2. 1, 2, and make sure those are smiley faces. Alright, so our key just tells us that we need to draw smiley faces. So make sure those are smiley faces. So how many children chose hopscotch? Well, we can look right here. And we can look at our chart over here with our smiley faces. So how many chose hopscotch? We're going to say 5. How many fewer children chose tag than kickball? So we're going to find tag. There's 1 that chose tag. In kickball, there was 3. So 3 minus 1 equals 2. Which 2 games were chosen by a total of 4 children? So the easiest thing to do here that I count my smiley faces. 1. Hopscotch we had 5. Kickball we had 3. And then 2 down here. And I asked myself, what 2 numbers could I add together here, because we have 2 games, that could equal 4. So I know 2 plus 3 can't work. That's 5. 5 can't work with anything. That's too big. But I know that I could do 1 and 3. So down here, the ones that have 1 and 3 are kickball and tag. So what 2 games? I would say kickball and tag. Number 10 says Mr. Sanchez asked the children in his class to name their favorite type of book. Use the data to complete the bar graph. All right, so for this one, they didn't give us our titles. But we know that we're trying to, let me do that in a different color. We're trying to do favorite types of books in Mr. Sanchez's class. So I am going to put for my title, favorite types of books. And you have to capitalize when it's a title. That's okay if you run off that line a bit. So what's nice is they gave us our title over here. These are all types of genres of books. And then with our numbers, we have to say number of. And what I tell my students is right here. Usually tells us right next to that number, tells us what we're saying the number of is. So we have number of children. Number of children. I'm going to fill in this data. How many chose fiction? If I look over by fiction, I have 8 chose fiction. So I'm going to color that in to the best of my ability. Does not have to be perfect, just color it in. Science, I have science right here. 4 chose science. How many chose history? I have 6 that chose history. I'm just going down on these. Looks like it pretty much just goes down. And then poetry, I have 9. Yeah, just color that in to the best of your ability. That one was a little messy. All right. Now it says to fill in the bubble next to all the sentences that describe the data in the bar graph. So we're going to look at that bar graph to help. So 8 children chose fiction. All right, if I look at fiction, I can tell if that's true or false. So right there, it says 8 children chose fiction. So yes, that's true. Fewer children chose fiction than history. All right, so we're paying attention to fiction and history. So fewer children chose fiction. So that was 8. then history, which was 6. That's not true. The next one, 3 more children chose history than science. So we're going to look at history and science. So let's see, history is right here, science is right here. 3 more children chose history than science. Well, 1, 2, this would make 3. So no, 3 more didn't choose. 2 more did, but not 3, so we can't color that in. So more children chose poetry than any kind of book. If we look at poetry down here at the very bottom of our chart, we see that it does have the most. So I could color that one in. Scrolling on down. Did more children choose science and history than poetry? All right, so I'm going to say science and history equals, let's see how much that is actually. So science had how many? We see 4 right here. So 4 plus, how much was history? 6. So 4 plus 6 equals 10. So did more children choose science and history than poetry? Poetry had 9. So poetry had 9. I'm going to say, I'm just going to make a big mark to tell me now I can start explaining. So what I would say here is that more children did choose science and history compared to poetry. But I would say 10, or I'm sorry. I'm going to say yes, because it is true. Yes. More children did choose science and history than poetry. Because I'm going to say history, or science and history, had 10 children. Poetry had 9. So just any way you can explain that efficiently usually works. Because we know that 9 is less than 10, technically. So now, looking at number 13, how many children chose a book that is not fiction? So you're going to add everything that is not fiction. So I'm going to use this blue area to help me out. Everything that is not fiction is right in that red little box that I just made. So you're essentially going to add 4 plus 6 plus 9. So 4 plus 6 plus 9. 4 plus 6 is 10 plus 9 equals 19. So 19 children chose a book that is not fiction. That concludes this chapter review. I hope that you found it very helpful and that you do well on your test.